Good morning, good afternoon, and or evening, and welcome back to the Den and to another Marvel Rivals video. Well, a bit of a three-parter video, if you will. We're going to be looking at the changes and what I found from playtesting with all of the changes that happened in Marvel Rivals recently to characters. I was really concerned about some of them, not so concerned about others, and well, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on what I playtested in terms of the changes. And then we're going to be looking at the Season 4.5 update. Daredevil is going to be coming, and some other stuff is going to be coming as well. There are going to be any further changes that might mitigate some of my concerns or some of my findings, might change how I feel about some of these characters after the recent buffs and nerfs, the balancing changes. Maybe. But first and foremost, before we get into any of that, I want to say thank you very much. We have hit over 31 subscribers on the channel, and the No Man's Sky video is also doing really well, and I want to say thank you for all the support. Just to kind of pop over here and show you guys a little glimpse into things. 31 subscribers, that's 8 more in the last 28 days. I want to say thank you so much for hitting that 30 subscriber goal. My next goal is to get the channel up to 50. So hopefully, as long as I keep making good content, we'll be able to get things up to that point. And if you look at the No Man's Sky video, it is at 836 views, 20 comments, 41 likes, and of course there's a couple of dislikes in there, but that's to be expected somewhat. And that makes No Man's Sky 1 view less than the most viewed video on my channel, which is my A Week in the Life for Enshrouded. And it is currently sitting at 837 views right here, and it's got 6 comments and 18 likes. The Enshrouded community was really receptive and they were really supportive. I ended up streaming my entire playthrough of the game before I did the review on it, and I want to say thank you to the No Man's Sky community for all their wonderful and awesome support on my No Man's Sky review. Also had a lot of great comments, a lot of great conversations, and I think I got one that I need to respond to, right? I've looked at it, but I need to respond to it, so that's coming. So if you guys have any thoughts on the No Man's Sky updates, or on what you think of the game as a new player, or anything that you think I might need to be checking out in No Man's Sky, or something I should kind of endeavor for outside of just creating more cool looking ships, let me know in the comment section of that video or this video down below, right? But again, thank you so much. Thank you for all the support, especially hitting over 30 subscribers. That's a big goal that the channel hit, and just the continued support. Another example is that the channel the channel has received over 1,000 views in the last 28 days. I can't thank you guys enough for your support. Thank you so much for helping me turn my hobby into something more. It means a lot. And while I'm saying thank you, to the No Man's Sky community, thank you No Man's Sky community especially. Thank you the Enshrouded community especially. Well, all thank you especially. Thank you to the Hogwarts Legacy communities, the community of Nightingale, Marvel Rivals, because I've been streaming and doing content on that game for almost a year, and that's something brand new for my channel. Usually, I do a review, I move on to the next review, but Marvel Rivals has been hanging around. It's been continued to get supported, and thank you for the continual support on that. Thank you for the continual support on the streams, playing through Expedition 33, the Subnautica run. Thank you to the Subnautica community for the wonderful reception there. Thank you. I will endeavor to continue to create good content that you guys can continue to support, especially now that we're in CREEPTOBER. And CREEPTOBER is a bit of a different time for the channel, but we're going to be getting to some spooky games and a lot of fun stuff there. Still going to be doing Marvel Rivals this upcoming Friday. And speaking of Marvel Rivals, when it comes to the changes and the testing that I did, again, thank you everybody, thank you so much. But to Marvel Rivals, for the changes and the testing that I did, and I'll be sure to throw up some gameplay from some of the testing. Captain America I didn't play as. he just lost a damage boost that he gets when he's the anchor for a team up. The character of Cap himself did not change. Like, he didn't receive any kind of nerfs to ability cooldowns or any values there within of damage or damage resistance, etc. Bonus armor, anything like that. He himself stayed the same. Now, as far as I know, Cap is either the only or one of the very few people that is an anchor for a team up and he doesn't get some kind of bonus, he doesn't get some kind of buff, he doesn't get some kind of boost. I think that needs to be rectified. Now, if a 5% damage boost is a problem, right? If a buff to his damage is a problem, then change this word to something else, right? Change it away from damage. Make it something else. That would be a really good way to still give him a buff and not nerf him. He didn't really get nerfed, but he no longer gets a buff. That would be a way to keep that buff in place. I think if you're an anchor for a team up, you should be getting some kind of boost, some kind of buff in some way. Maybe not the damage, maybe damage resistance, maybe ability cooldown, maybe bonus health, something. He should be getting something, right? Now, as for some of the other heroes, Doctor Strange, I played a handful of games with him. He does deal noticeably more damage now, and being able to pop off your little burst attack with Maelstrom of Madness, getting to pop that off more quickly, I do notice that, but it's still kind of like a finishing move, kind of like I'm going to kind of hit a little bit of an area, do light damage across an area. It still fulfills that function, but you get to do it more often now. Now, you still got to charge it up. The charge up values and all that still stay the same with it, but you can pop it off more quickly. It's nice. It helps his outgoing damage, right? Now, getting reduced from 600 to 575 health, I did not initially, like I was like, oh, that's going to be a bad thing. You know, he's getting nerfed to his health. But then in the first couple of games, I didn't really think it was going to be a big issue. And mostly what it boils down to, at least in comparison, because I've played mostly with Strange in Season 0 and Season 1, there's instances where it's like, I feel like I should have been able to take one more hit. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Now, it's not every single instance, it's not all the time that he's taking damage, but there were several instances where I was like, man, I felt like I used to be able to take like one more hit and I'd have been able to get around that corner, right? Maybe survive. But he's a little bit more fragile. Is it a huge nerf? Is it like, oh my gosh, he's unplayable, he dies so quickly? No, it's not, but it is something noticeable. For me, it again, it mainly boiled down to I felt like I used to be able to take like one more hit than what he's able to. I played Emma Frost in one game. I played a lot against Emma Frost. Emma Frost is still a really popular tank. I saw Emma a lot on opposing teams, and her diamond form, I did see it less often. When I played with it, I'm not really the greatest at knowing like when to pop diamond form and getting the most utilization out of diamond form. I personally didn't really notice a difference. Dirty casual though. From my opponents, I did notice that instead of having a more liberal use of diamond form, they kind of popped it as more of a, hey, we're pressing up on them. They're trying to basically plant their feet. They pop diamond form. They might kill a squishy on the push up. They might pick someone up and slam them down, but mostly they were popping it for survivability. And I did see it less, noticeably less than what I used to. So this is something that you're gonna have to use more defensively than offensively. Not necessarily be more conservative as opposed to liberal with its use, but it's definitely something that you're going to want to push back against your opponent's offense with instead of charging into the enemy team in diamond form, if that makes any sense. You want to use it more defensively as opposed to offensively. And her telepathic pulse, it does less damage, or she gets less of the ramp up when hitting shields. This is a good thing. You know, when the one game I played with Emma and playing against opponents, they mainly just focused on hitting people as opposed to shields. And this was a really common thing that I noticed prior to this nerf. So While she doesn't get as much ramp up from shields, which I think is good because you should get most of the ramp up from hitting opponents, I haven't really come across an instance of where I just like, oh, hey, here's an Emma and she's just drilling into this shield, as opposed to going after another player or doing something else. So in my experience, outside of seeing Diamond form less, like it's still just as lethal, right? It's still just as deadly if you get caught off guard or you get kicked into a wall. It's still just as deadly. But you do see it a little less often, right? It did get reduced basically by 1/5 by 20%, or it got increased on its cooldown by 20%. You just see it a little less often. Emma still pretty much operates the exact same way that she did as an opponent on your team or when you're playing her. I didn't really notice too much of a change other than instead of being able to use Diamond Form very liberally and like use it as an offensive tool, you want to use it more as like a defensive tool to push back against, when your opponents are trying to come up and take the point from you or something like that. Penny, I don't know, maybe I'm blind. I didn't really notice the slow at all from the mines. I know it was happening because, well, it's a thing now, right? But I didn't really notice it. And even when I would play against a Penny, and the occasion that one of her mines would hit me, I didn't really notice the slowdown. Like, it is only 8%, so it's small. It's a small slowdown, but 8% can be significant in the right circumstances. But just experientially, I didn't really notice the slowdown, right? Now, I never really got like hit by a ton of mines, and I never really noticed many of my teammates getting hit by a ton of mines. It was like 1 or 2 at most, like on a regular basis. Of course, there were instances of more and instances of less, but just on a regular basis, it was like 1, 2, or 3 mines are hitting you. I didn't really notice the huge slowdown. Now, the more mines that hit them, I did notice them start to move slower, so you really gotta stack it, but just experientially, I didn't really notice it a whole lot. So maybe I just need more time. That's what I would chalk that up to. I need more time with it as opposed to, increase that slowdown effect, right? Because it does stack up to 40%. And when I got hit by Invisible Woman's slowdown, that was noticeable, but we'll get to Invisible Woman. The Spider Drone release interval during her ultimate going down from 0.7 to 0.5, you will see more mines on the ground after Penny's done running around. If she doesn't knock you up into the air very much, you will notice more mines. Is it a hugely significant? No. It seems like she's able to basically kind of get like, in terms of the entire ultimate, if she focuses on using her mines, it seems like she's able to get like 2 to 4 more mines out, depending on how many times she does the melee or runs around before, ejecting mines, whatever. But it seems like she's not able to get a hugely significant amount more, but she's able to get like a few more, if that makes any sense. And that I think would be a good thing, right? Her ultimate, I like her ult, but I've never really felt like, oh yeah, my ult did so much there like it can with like a Magneto or an Iron Man or a Rocket or Invisible Woman, so many other ults. So in trying to increase the effectiveness of her ult, I'm not going to complain against that. Overall, I think these are good changes, even though experientially I didn't really notice anything. But then again, you guys have also seen the kind of characters I play. I'm going up walls, I'm up in the air, I'm hanging back behind the group, so I'm not really in a position where I'm going to get hit by a ton of mines to really notice it. Thor. He moves a little bit faster. I have to focus. If he goes to pop his ult and I am in that circle and I'm not near the edge, I have to consciously focus everything I got on getting out of that circle, right? Even, say, playing as like a Rocket where I've got the dash, I'm having to use both dashes to make sure I'm comfortably out of that circle and he ain't going to catch up to me. The movement speed is a really good thing. It doesn't make it overwhelming. You can still get away from it, but it's not like an almost guarantee you can move away from it, especially if you got a good bit of movement speed. For the faster characters, you do have to be conscious of how much quicker he can move, because you can't just, oh, la 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 la, I'm gonna get out of it, I'm good, whatever, no big deal. No, now it's yeah, I gotta make sure I'm out of it, right? I gotta make sure I'm out of it. Now, I haven't personally been hit and not killed by Thor ult. I've avoided pretty much all the Thor ults that I've come across so far in the playtesting. One time I did get hit, and I died. So, it stuns enemies for 1 second. I never really noticed the stun because I didn't get hit with it. I will say that after a stun, watching a friendly Thor, or when I was playing as Thor, it's like you can guarantee that one of the people that got hit by it's that second gives you enough time to like guarantee a kill on one of them, right? So if you don't kill anybody with the ult slam, you can still get a kill from the ult, essentially. The 1 second stun, it's not meant to be there for a whole lot, but I think it serves its functional purpose, which is to give Thor a chance to kill somebody he hit with his ult if he didn't kill them with the slam. In that regard, I think that works out perfectly. Would it maybe be kind of cool to see him stun for a little bit longer? Yeah, that would give Thor's ult even more effectiveness, but at the same time, the 1 second's enough. He can get one kill off of it. He can finish one opponent, and he's going to be Gucci good to go. Black Panther, I got a few games in with, and personally, I didn't really notice a whole lot, right? He does get less bonus health, and they did reduce his base health, but I was a lot of times able to like generate a good amount of bonus health off of hitting one or two people with my dashing slash thing, the rend attack, and well, when I was able to get away, I had a little bit of bonus health left, or I might have taken a little bit of damage, so in terms of allowing me to get in, deal some damage, get a kill on the back line, and get out, it still does what it's supposed to do. It still allows me that survivability and flexibility. It's just less so now. There were instances where I dived in, and upon trying to get out, or not upon trying to get out, but upon, like, I would dive in, and then I would try to hang in the back line and get more than one kill instead of dashing out. I figured the bonus health, even though it got decreased, depending on how much I could generate, that I'd still be able to hang in that back line. But Panther just, you got to get in, get out. You got to get in, get out, right? Just like with Spider-Man, you don't need to be hanging around in that back line unless you're going to dive in, get a pick and then pop your ult. Panther, I mean, every time I dove into the back line, for the most part, I was able to get a kill. I was able to get multiple kills pretty regularly. Anytime I try to hang in the fight, I would just die. That's kind of what I expect out of Panther. And the more I kind of got into his flow of diving in and then getting out and then, pulling back, maybe getting health back, coming back over to my team, grouping up, helping to fight off a tank or something, the better I started to do. His rhythm isn't really all that difficult to figure out, kind of like with Spider-Man's rhythm, but for me, I found it difficult in terms of getting out. Diving in, perfectly fine, but in terms of getting out, I guess I'm just not the best with Panther yet, but he still feels really good. Like, even to somebody who hasn't played him a lot, who has traditionally not done well with Panther, he still feels good. He's just, I would imagine someone who's really experienced with him would just say he's a bit more fragile now. I'm not sure how to feel about these. I don't know how much the extra 25 damage would allow me to hang in there. It'd probably allow me to take like another hit, kind of like with Strange. Panther's pretty speedy though for a boots on the ground guy, being able to run up walls and then run off the wall and then do a double jump. He can get around pretty well. Not as well as someone like Spider-Man, but he can still get around pretty well. And they said they were going to make the bonus health a little less, or his survivability after striking a marked enemy a little less kingly. I'm going to have to say they succeeded, because anytime that I dove in and I tried to like kill more than one person and then I didn't immediately try to get out and regroup and then pick a different target, I was getting picked off. So I would have to say those kind of accomplished that. He's still going to be a terror of the backline. When Panthers would play against me as a support, still a terror for the backline. Same thing with Spider-Man, but I don't have the most experience with Panther, so I don't know how survivable he was previously, but I'd have to say that these changes accomplished what the devs were wanting, right? Now, coming down to Blade Down here, The Daywalker sword got a little sharper. He does more melee damage because this was a slight damage increase to his sword weapon. I already felt that he was really good and strong. I already feel that he's a pretty powerful character, a really good character. I didn't test him because he's slightly better. So my opinion of, well, he was great, now he's slightly greater, I didn't really see the point in testing that. So I didn't do anything with Blade, and that's just because he got a slight damage increase. I already thought he was great before. I already thought he did enough damage before, so now that he does a little bit more, it's kind of the same thing. I'm going to come back to Magic. She got a lot of changes. We're going to come back to her. Moon Knight. He's got 2 charges on the Moonblade. He's still 2 thumbs up. Still a good DPS character. Still a great DPS character. Still pretty good mobile. Nothing really about him changed. He's got another charge for Moonblade. Yes, he can dish out more pain more quickly now, but he still feels just very much the same to me. Like, having the extra Moonblade charge, yes, I'm having to deal with that on a more regular basis, but I don't know, like some of the other characters you're going to hear from me in here just largely felt unchanged. Psylocke, size burst damage has been dialed back slightly. I played a couple of games. Psylocke was played a lot against me. There was a couple of instances where I was like, I feel like that would have killed him when I pulled the shuriken back. Or I felt like that should have killed him, and they were just left with just like the barest little sliver of health. One more shot from her crossbow finished him off. So I guess it's noticeable that she does a little bit less damage with that one attack, but in terms of her overall kill and damage capabilities, she feels largely unchanged. I don't really know how to feel about this. It kind of sucks to see her take a 4-point nerf to one of her abilities in terms of damage, but experientially, there was just a couple of isolated incidents in which I was like, if that did a little bit more damage, I felt like that would have killed him on the shurikens. Scarlet Witch, great changes. She now erases people. I have seen one Venom survive with just the barest sliver of health one time from the ultimate. Really great change. Boom, you're gone. Now, it does pull in enemies. I have used this to kill a Scarlet Witch while she was trying to get her ult off, and playing as Scarlet Witch, I have died because of this, trying to get my ult off. I started pulling in people. I thought it was going to be great. They were focusing on different characters, and they all turned to me as soon as they noticed they were getting pulled in, and then I just disappeared from the screen. So it's a really great counterbalance. She is going to kill you, but now she's also a bit easier to kill when she's in the charge up and she's pulling you in. Great stuff. You guys gave her a massive boost for her ult, and you also gave a great counterbalance to it as well. Great. Just great. Being able to get healed during Mystic Projection, I love this when I'm playing Scarlet Witch. I'm really pissed off by it when I'm playing against Scarlet Witch. It is what it is. I don't feel she really needed to be able to get healed when she was in the mode because she removes herself from her opponents being able to damage her, but it's a great change nonetheless. Other people, when they're invisible, can get healed by allies, so why not Scarlet Witch too, right? Squirrel Girl. I was really worried about Squirrel Girl, right? Because they were going to tone back her ability to poke at long range. And looking at Doreen's ability to poke at long range, they reduced her main attack from 110 to 100. It does less damage now, yes. But if you think about the amount of health that characters have, and if you get, how many direct hits it's going to take out a character without them getting healed or protected or, etc. It takes the same number of shots to kill on most opponents. Pretty much the only opponents that I found that this really kind of changed how effective she was against them is tanks, the vanguards. Other than that, 3 or 4 shots to kill. Doesn't change. That covers all your strategists, that covers all your duelists. No interruptions, no defenses, no abilities that counteract my ability to do your damage, all things considered, just under normal, how much health do you have versus how much damage am I dealing out? her shots to kill doesn't change. It doesn't. Now, if anything, her overall rotation actually got a damage buff because her sticky acorn, the squirrel blockade, goes up from 35 to 50. So it got a 15-point increase. Now, this does go on a cooldown when you use it. You can refresh it with the mammal bond, which got a huge nerf. That sucks. But if anything, I feel like she does more damage more consistently because her secondary got a bit of a buff. You throw that in there, you stick somebody, a lot of times it's going to take like 2 shots to kill, especially if you're going after a squishy. If you're going after somebody with a bit more health, same number of shots to kill as before. They're just now stuck in place and it's easier for you to kill them. So all in all, while she did get her ability to poke out long range tune back, while she did receive a damage nerf to her main attack, her secondary attack got a noticeable damage buff, a bigger damage buff than what her main attack lost. Overall, 3 shots to kill at 250. She was doing 330. She's now dealing 300, but she's also dealing 50 damage with the sticky acorn. So instead of needing 3 shots to kill, you can use the sticky acorn and 2 shots and that person's down. Overall, she feels largely unchanged in terms of her damage output. If anything, she can do a little bit more damage a little more quickly because of the sticky acorn. That being said, mathematically, the main attack did take a nerf. Experientially, it takes you the same number of shots to kill with the main attack, so it doesn't really matter. Mammal Bond getting a 50% cooldown increase sucks. You have to be very conscious of when you use this. You cannot be bouncing around and throwing out sticky acorns all willy-nilly anymore. You gotta be conscious. This I find best to refresh my abilities when I'm getting pushed on. Say I've already used my bounce, people start pushing me, I need to get away, pop that, throw out a sticky, bounce away. A lot of characters that, and that's kind of a common theme, right? I've noticed from a lot of the characters with some of the nerfs they received, it kind of means you have to use an ability more defensively than offensively is the main change. So that's a common theme you've probably heard. That along with largely unchanged. Now, oh crap. I forgot to play with Bucky, and I was actually kind of interested in that ability. So I apologize. I didn't really have Bucky played much against me, like once or twice. The opponent ended up swapping to a different character. I forgot to play as Winter Soldier, so I don't have anything in this regard for you guys, and I'm very sorry. Second Strike now applies a 1-second debuff to hit enemies, preventing them from using mobility abilities. The reason I didn't really care much about getting hit by Winter Soldier or getting drug in with Iron Man is because I still had access to my flight ability. I could get away really quickly, really easily. You know, the Winter Soldier could use his full suite of abilities on me, not kill me, and I can get away because of flight. Not being able to do that now, as an Iron Man Lord, I'm going to be wary of Winter Soldier. Just like I am of Scarlet Witch, because if he can drag me in now and use his full suite of abilities on me, even if he doesn't kill me, I can't get away, which leaves me really vulnerable to a tap, I'm dead. Probably just a tap and I'm dead, in all honesty. So, I think this is going to be a really effective buff to Bucky. And again, I'm sorry because I completely forgot about Bucky. It's not that I dislike Bucky or anything. I just completely forgot about him on the list. That's my apologies. Invisible Woman, great stuff, great buffs. I thought she already was slowing enemies. That is noticeable. That sucks. If that gets popped on me and I need to get away, I'm probably not getting away. She now heals more as well. This is a great thing. There were times I felt like with certain characters I could kind of just continue to knock my enemies down, chunk down their health, and kind of override her healing capability. Not anymore. And the fact that you now get even more slowed when you walk through one of her Guardian shields. I don't have a habit of doing that, so I didn't really notice that. I didn't see too many enemies doing that either. So I'm just going to have to say this is a good thing, right? You're slowing them even more. You're now slowing them slightly over 1/3 instead of slightly under 1/3. Invisible Woman, she was already a really great choice for a strategist. I think we're going to see her come up a little bit in this season. I think we're going to see her usage come up a little bit. She's got a lot of great tools in her toolbox, and now those tools are more effective. So I already thought she was an S tier. She's just kind of solidified in that S tier now for me. Jeff. I didn't play with Jeff, but every single game seemed to have a Jeff on my team and a Jeff on the other team. So, this healing radius thing that he now does sucks when it's not on you. When it's the opponent's Jeff doing it, it sucks. When it's your Jeff doing it, it's wonderful. So, I'm just gonna have to say 2 thumbs up on that. Jeff is now, like, he was always kind of good at healing, right? He wasn't the strongest healer, but he also kind of doubled as damage. With this, Jeff's great. Like, Jeff, if I were to reevaluate my strategist tier list, Jeff would be moving up at least 1 tier after these kinds of changes. Now, that's a good rework to an ability. That's a good addition, right? This is the kind of stuff we want to see with balances and changes. We want to see heroes get more powerful. We want to see them get more tools in their toolkit. And before we move down into heavy support, I'm going to come back up to Magic. Magic was really great in Season 0. They kind of nerfed her, brought her down a little bit in Season 1. She was still good, but she wasn't as powerful. And then they changed her a little bit more over time, and she kind of evened out as kind of like an average character to play. Not really great, not really terrible. You know, the super skilled people could still dominate with her, but the average player would just kind of have an average experience if they weren't, like, skilled in using magic. Oh, the Demon Child. Lord. These are a lot of really small buffs, right? Like, you're going from 65 to 75, 45 to 50, 18 to 20, right? So it's a lot of small buffs, a lot of small adjustments. And I think they have resulted in Magic coming not quite up to her most former glory back in Season 0 when she was really powerful. But this is probably the most powerful she's ever been outside of that time. There was a season in which dive characters, like all dive characters, were just dominating, and Magic kind of came back up at that point. I feel like she's around that level. Maybe a little bit more powerful, maybe a little bit less powerful. People are looking out for her. Now that Ultron also does, you know, he just does like massive amounts of damage. He does 125% damage to bonus health. If there's an enemy Ultron on the team, he pops his ult, he can just nullify Magic's ability to survive in the midst of a fight of constantly just generating bonus health. She's still really powerful though. She's still really agile. Her cooldowns are good. Like, I'd have to say this is probably the best Magic has ever been and ever felt, without just being like, oh wow, this girl is overpowered, right? Like, this is the best she's ever felt. I feel like she's in a really good spot. She can be countered easily. She can dominate pretty easily, right? It kind of depends upon who's playing her and the team she's going up against. And I've got some gameplay that I'll try to make sure to throw up at some point, if not right now in this video, where I had a Magic hounding me, chasing me down a Scarlet Witch, and still through the use of mobility, of throwing out damage, of left click and right click, and just trying to outwit, outplay, outmaneuver her, kept her spinning in circles, grabbing health packs, etc. I was able to outduel Magic, and I was kind of terrified because I thought she was going to get me, but I was able to outduel her. So she's not overpowered, but she's good and strong, and I think that's a really great place for Magic, strong without being overpowered. So just to cover Magic before we move into the supports. Now, coming down into the supports, I didn't play any with Ultron. He now deals 125% damage against bonus health in his ult. I didn't play as Ultron. Like Cap, I didn't see the need to really test him because he ultimately hasn't changed a whole lot. He now wipes out bonus health more quickly. That gives him kind of an advantage because his ult does damage. It also heals. It's not really super effective at either, but now that he can wipe out bonus health, he can help as like an anti-dive in his ult. He can help heal his team, fight off people pushing up on him. I'm going to have to say it's a good change. Mantis, the decay, your speed decaying now over 2 seconds instead of just, or I'm sorry, your speed and damage buff from Nature's Favor. That decaying over 2 seconds when you get hit instead of going away immediately. This did help me to survive a couple of times. It's a great minor change to increase her effectiveness, to give her a value add to increase the effectiveness of that ability. Other than that, though, she's exactly the same as the Mantis. You know, Luna, and your ult. It went from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. It's like there was a period of forgiveness. If you popped her ult and you were a little too early, you were fine because you had 12 seconds instead of 10. With 10 seconds instead of 12, it feels like that little period of forgiveness if you popped it a little too soon. That little bit of area of forgiveness is now gone. Other than that, Luna is still the music queen. She's still the ice queen. She's still an evergreen support character. She's still great. You don't really have a period of forgiveness on her ult anymore, which means you got to get a little bit more skilled in your use of it. Not a bad thing. It does suck to see her nerfed. I didn't really think she needed to be nerfed, but there were multiple times playing with her before this nerf that I felt like, hey, my ult's going on kind of long. Now when I start to get to that point of, hey, my ult's going on kind of long, it stops. So that's why I say they just kind of removed a period of forgiveness if you popped it too soon. Other than that, she's the same awesome S-tier support character she's always been. Loki, I did notice damage and healing numbers were down a little bit from the nerf to his clones. When it comes to the ultimate stuff, when I use Loki's ult and I clone somebody on my team or on the enemy team, I use their ult pretty quickly. So I don't really have any good impressions on this part of his ability. I'm not turning into someone else and then staying as them long enough for me to really notice any of these other changes. Maybe that's a sign I need to be less trigger happy on the ult. Dirty casual, probably popping the ult ability too soon. So I do want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What do you think of these changes? What do you think of them overall? Is there anything you think I'm off base on? Is there anything you think they swung too far on? Do you think there's anything they didn't swing on far enough? Let me know in the comments down below. And we're going to get on to the next thing. And the next thing is the Season 4.5 devlog for Marvel Rivals. Now, for the last 0.5 we had 3.5, it was just Guang, so we'll see if Zeong is also here, but we know Guang is going to be bringing us some cool stuff, and I would have had his nice lovely face down up there in the bottom corner, but yeah, YouTube's being YouTube, so it is what it is. But let's hear from Guang and hopefully Zeong and see what they have to say about Season 4.5.
Hello everyone.
Hey Guang.
Guang here. It's great to see you all again.
A new hero, new team-ups, new mode, and event.
In Season 4.0, Dr. Doom's plan to seize the heart of the dragon has been delayed by Shoulau's clever tactics.
Aha!
And as the Shenlong tournament preparation unfolds, Daredevil is set to join the battle. Is his true goal to help the Ice City regain its place among the capital cities of heaven, or has he already decided to commit a necessary evil for the greater good?
Probably a little bit of both.
Be sure to find out when Daredevil joins the Marvel Rivals roster in Season 4.5. As a duelist, Daredevil...
Okay, I'm just going to stop here real quick. I knew he was probably going to be a duelist. I knew he had a really high likelihood of being a duelist. I was just kind of hoping he might end up being a Vanguard and we get a double Vanguard season, but...
iconic radar sense makes all evil visible. Nothing escapes his sight. In combat, he can pick a priority target based on the situation, use his agility to close the gap, and unleash rapid attacks with his speedy clubs. When facing tough opponents, Daredevil taps into the Beast's power, amplifying his martial arts for even more deadly strikes. Activate his ultimate ability, and Daredevil fully unleash the Beast. Any enemy who dares look at him will be gripped by fear, awaiting his cold justice. This update brings another round of team-up ability adjustments.
Okay, before we get into the team-ups and adjustments, I just want to back up here just a wee bit. It was before this. Here we are. Just kind of want to look at the boy. Look at the man. He's got kind of a samurai armored look to him. That's pretty interesting, pretty cool. He's got like little layered leather pauldrons there. We got the double D. He's got a high collar, so that kind of, he can get those menacing like ooh glares going on. That's going to be good. Now they called them billy clubs. Usually it's some kind of nunchuck or staff that breaks into multiple pieces, but we're calling them billy clubs. So okay. Overall, the style of the character and the color palette I really like the look of. Now, it sounds like he is going to be able to set a priority target, and this, I would imagine, will give you some kind of buff against that target or resistance against that target, right? And if you're then able to kind of buff himself up, because they did mention that he will unleash rapid attacks. When facing tough opponents, Daredevil taps into the Beast's power, amplifying his martial arts for even more deadly strikes. So that sounds like it's going to be a damage buff. So he could potentially be a duelist that can give himself a damage buff, kind of like Phoenix can give herself healing over time, or Iron Fist can kind of do a block and then kind of power up his martial arts strikes to do rapid attacks, or he can do the little meditation to kind of heal himself a little bit or get bonus health, right? So instead of something like bonus health or healing, it sounds like Daredevil is going to be giving himself a damage buff. This sounds kind of similar to Blade, where he is able to attack more rapidly, which kind of increases his it increases his outgoing damage, and that's also where he gets his lifesteal from. So if he's able to set like a priority target, I'm not exactly sure what that would do, but then if he can also, on top of whatever bonus he would get for that priority target, maybe faster attacks, maybe they're slowed or something, right? And then he's able to go in on them with a damage buff on his main attack and either attack more quickly or just kind of just do more damage in some manner, fashion, or form. That is going to be really powerful. He could be a dive. I would imagine Daredevil would be a brawler. Now, they mention anyone who looks at him will be gripped by fear when he uses his ultimate. So this makes me think that his ultimate is going to be like a roaming ult, right? It's not going to be, I'm going to like plant something down like Angela and it's going to like immobilize people or do damage. It's not going to be like a big attack like Iron Man. It sounds like it's going to be a roaming ult, kind of like Iron Fist. That's a good roaming ult, right? He moves around, he can attack multiple targets, he gets damage buff, a little bit of bonus health, and just kind of just unleashes the fists of fury, right? So that's what I would imagine Daredevil's ult is going to be, a roaming ult, where he goes into his ultimate and then he goes around and he's able to attack multiple enemies or unleash different combinations of attack, kind of like Magic or Iron Fist, right? You go into your ultimate, it's like a mode. It's not an attack, but you go into like a different kind of mode. That's what a roaming ult is.
Cold Justice. This update brings another round of
what new team ups we got?
Adjustments. We are removing Ragnarok Rebirth and taking Namor out of Gamma Charge. 2 brand new team up abilities are coming.
Because he's going with Hela.
Here they are, the fools.
And Deep Breath.
Okay, I'm going to back up here just a few seconds, but it looks like Punisher's going to get a damage buff, or like a highly damaging attack from the Bestial Hunt. Right? So let's just start back up at the start of team-ups here. So we're losing the Thor Hela.
We are removing...
And Namor's getting removed from the Gamma Charge because he's getting a team-up with Hela.
In Ragnarok Rebirth and taking Namor out of Gamma Charge.
Okay.
2 brand new team-up abilities are coming.
So Thor recently got a new team-up with Angela. So that's probably why we're losing that one with Hela, and Hela's getting a new team-up with Namor, which makes sense. They like to keep people with team-ups, but not too many. I think Groot's the only one that has as many team-ups as he does. And that's just because, he gets the people to ride on the shoulder, and then he has the other team-up with Mantis and Loki.
Bestial Hunt.
Here they are, the fools.
So he does extra damage. And adds an effect, too.
And Deep Breath.
not lose.
Oh.
Season 4.5 will also
Okay, so that was actually pretty interesting looking. So he does this little attack. And it hits in an area, right? You see the little ravens come up and around. So it hits in an area, right? And it looks like it just does the 1 damage tick on that initial big upsurge. But then, when the enemies die, it's like it spawns like a hella kraken, like a hella monstro. Uh-huh, okay. So he might have the ability, well, he's not going to have the gamma charge one to throw out, so it looks like this is taking the place of that. So he still has 2 different kinds of monstros he can pop out with his team up. But the fact that he also gets an area of effect damage attack along with it, and then whoever he kills turns them into like a little monstro turret, I wonder how many of those you can have out at once. Okay, so this guy's still active over here, and this one's coming out. So you can have 2 of these dudes out, and it doesn't look like it affects his monstro down over here, his normal monstro spawn. He's still got the 2 on his E. So this is all just coming off of the C, which is the team-up ability on PC.
Season 4.5 will also introduce an exciting new mode.
Ooh, lay it on
with
me.
details to be revealed at the Thailand Game Show on October 17th.
You're making me wait,
Plus,
Guang Guang.
We've prepared a special Halloween.
Oh my god, they know how to hit my wallet. Oh my god, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Ah! I knew it was coming, but I'm in trouble. Ooh. Hand on her hip. Little thing on her arm. Butterfly. I don't see a sword. Little spider. So this is obviously Jeff. This is obviously Namor, right? And this is obviously Penny. I'm not 100% sure who this is. Oh, that's Penny to go with the suit. Duh. I'm sorry, guys. But yes, Halloween costumes.
Event and theme.
Oh, zombie Wanda and a... Oh, it's the man spider. Ah, man, Spidey. You get all the good ones, don't you? You get all the good ones.
Costumes, so we can celebrate this mysterious and lovely season together.
I know I kind of interrupted him multiple times there, but... Oh, Halloween costumes. Oh my gosh, if there's one way to guarantee you're going to get some money for cosmetics out of me, it is Halloween. Oh, cross progression.
We've heard the community's requests for cross-platform progression. We have made it a top priority, and it's been frantically cooking in development behind the scenes. We're excited to share that the feature is now ready. However, to ensure a smooth launch, we'll first invite a small group of players to test and provide feedback during Season 4.5 before officially launching cross-progression for everyone in Season 5. You will be able to link your accounts from different platforms in Settings, Other, Account Linking. Once you set the main character from one platform, you will use it across all linked accounts. You can switch your main character, but there will be a cooldown between changes. Please note, your rank and leaderboard position will remain separate for each platform.
Also makes
sense. When you play on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox, your career battle stats and rank are tracked independently for each device.
That's a little different. But cross progression, being able to play anywhere and play with your peeps, being able to play with any of your friends, wonderful.
To meet player demand, we're introducing home screen background customization.
Ooh.
You can freely set previous season's main page animations and music, and even download high-res image of the login and lobby screens. Zhiyong is still hard at work on balance changes.
It looks like they put him on a Jeff body in a suit.
Stay tuned for upcoming balance announcements and detailed team-up ability adjustments. And as always, ignite the battle.
Ignite the battle, Guang Guang. Okay, so 4.5 is going to begin on the 10th. That is a week from tomorrow. That is going to be during our first big week of Creeptober. So I will be streaming Phasmophobia on the 10th. So probably the 11th, I'm going to hop in, start to check out Season 4.5. The first game with Daredevil, the Dirty Casual tries for that, will be its own separate video. And that's going to go live on the 10th. I'm going to try to have that video... try to have that video ready for the 15th for you guys. That way it's not coming out on a day I'm also streaming. But that is absolutely wonderful to hear, Guang Guang. That is some awesome and amazing stuff. And thanks to a tweet from the... Well, I guess this is coming from Miller Ross. But balance and adjustments for the hero changes and whatnot. I'm going to go over these kind of quickly. I'm not going to go over them super in depth. And with Creeptober, I can't guarantee that I'll be able to do a separate standalone video for the changes like I did for these most recent ones. The adjustments for the Vanguards, we have Angela, our newest hero. The Hand of Heaven receives a slight boost to her sustained flight power after activating Divine Judgment. Increase the Axe of Ichor's, Angela's bonus health. Increase Axe of Ichor's, Angela's bonus health. That's weird. Anyways, from 30 per enemy hit to 40, and allies from 15 to 20. So when she does the ground slam, and then she pulls out her axes and she's attacking people, that gets her and her allies bonus health. They tuned it up by a little bit. She got a bit more of an adjustment than her allies. She got tuned up to 10 probably because it's coming from her, so she needs a bit more survivability to keep it going. But you also get it tuned up from 15 to 20 for your allies. Venom. Venom's ultimate ability becomes even more menacing for his foes. Feast of the Abyss, his ultimate ability, now applies a 30% healing reduction to enemies hit lasting 4 seconds. Okay, Venom. Okay, you needed a little bit of a come up. Okay, we'll see how that works. That sounds rather interesting. 30% healing reduction. So the way I interpret that is if you're getting healing from any source, it's reduced by 30% healing over time. You know, a healer's hitting you dead on with their healing, it's going to be reduced by 30%. That should help his ultimate to help him finish off some people a bit more easily. Duelist. And that was all the Vanguards? Just those two? Okay. Looks like Duelist has quite a bit. Strategist not so much, so I'll come back to the Duelist. In Strategist, we got Cloak and Dagger. Ty and Tandy's ultimate ability now takes a bit more energy to unleash their Eternal Bond. So that got tuned up from 4,300 to 4,500. I'm not exactly sure how the math of accrual goes with their abilities and what they do, but it is going to take them a little bit longer to pop off that ult. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I'm not sure how long that extra 200 is going to take to fill up, but it doesn't seem like it's a big nerf, at least just from the numbers on the page. It seems kind of like a minor nerf, so a little bit longer to get it, not a lot longer to get. At least that's how I interpret those numbers. Jeff. Our beloved Jeff's survivability takes a slight hit. Reduce the crit damage reduction of the Oblivious Cuteness passive from 70% to 50%. I think that's a good thing, especially now that his ult drops that healing pool. I'm going to say that's a good thing. Can't tell you how many times I've just been slamming my entire clip with Rocket into a Jeff's face and he just does not care. So now, probably going to have to care a little bit, right? That's a good thing. Oh, and speaking of my boy, Rocket's ultimate ability gets a boost. It needed a boost. Okay, let's see what they say. Increased damage boost granted by Sia from 25 to 40%. Whew. Oof. I'm happy for my boy Rocket. That's a big jump. An extra 15% damage buff. I could see that getting toned back to like 33 or 30 in a future update, but I'll take 40. Seems like a big jump, though. We'll have to see how it plays out. Good thing I'm trying to lord him, right? Ultron. Okay, the dials of Ultron, or the dials on Ultron's healing and ultimate ability uptime are being slightly turned back. Reduced imperative, patch, healing amount from 35 to 30, and healing bonus to the followed ally from 10 to 5. Ow. That's an ow right there. That's an ow for the ally. But the healing amount is a little bit slower. Okay. I guess they're maybe trying to they're trying to maybe like make him turn his weapon away from his main attack away from his enemies and towards his allies. And then 34 to 3700 on the cost. So that goes up by 300, where Cloak and Daggers went up by 200. So, I went down to team ups. That could be painful for him. Again, I'm not sure what like the accrual on those points is and how long that actually means it's going to go, but it seems like it could be a thing. And then in the duelists, I'm going to try to blitz through these just for time. Blade, increased Daywalker Dash secondary attack range by 2 meters. Oof, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. He's going to be able to chase people down a lot more easily. And increase the duration of each slash speed attack gained during Bloodline Awakening from 0.7 to 1. Ooh. Increase the duration of each slash speed attack gained from 0.7 to 1. Okay, so he's going to be able to launch more attacks. New effect, landing all 4 hits of a whirlwind slash grants 1 slash speed stack. Okay, so they're talking about the stacks up here. Okay. So he's going to be gaining those stacks quicker, and you can get a stack back from landing all 4 hits from a slash. Hela, the Goddess of Death, gets a slight survivability buff. Okay, good for her. She needed it. Reduced Astral Flock startup cast time. After each casting, Hela gains 25 bonus health. Astral Flock. I think that's her dash. So if they're making it so that way she gets a little bit of bonus health while she's going into her dash to ensure she can get through the dash and kind of come out of it with a little bit of extra protection, that's a good thing for Hela. Human Torch. Johnny sees a slight reduction in his damage and mobility. Okay. Reduce Fire Cluster hit damage per projectile from 5.5 to 5. Okay, a slight nerf. Fire Cluster now has a 0.5 second delay before ammo begins to replenish. Okay. That I'm going to say is good. This, Johnny doesn't really need to lose damage, but this, okay, so now he's going to have to be a bit more picky with his shots. He can't just sit there and just literally just like haul off constantly. During Plasma Body, reduce movement speed from 900 to 850. Okay, so he's going to lose a little bit of speed buff after he uses his dash. Gotcha. Iron Fist. Lin-Lei's threat against high health enemies slightly increases. Lower fixed damage of Yat-Jeet Chung Quinn from 9 to 8, but increase the percentage damage of the enemy's max health per strike from 2.7 to 3.1. Ah. Okay, so his fixed damage is able to do 1 less, but he's able to ramp up and do more percentage of enemy's health. I think this buff right here is going to outweigh that slight nerf. Mr. Fantastic, Reed gets a bit more crowd control over mobile heroes. After successfully pulling an enemy with Distended Grip, the target is now afflicted with a 1-second immobilize effect. Okay, I don't really think he needed that, but okay. Good for you, Reed. Phoenix. Jean's burst potential has been toned down. Melee attacks no longer stack sparks. Okay. I thought it was just a ranged attack anyway. Primary weapon ammo no longer replenishes during Dark Descent. Added 1 second of cooldown to Dark Descent. Okay. So, you're going to have to reload a bit more often is what I'm taking from that. And Dark Descent is going to take an extra second to recharge, so you got to be a little more choosy with that. Psylocke, Psy's ultimate ability, now has slightly more float and more sting. This is good. This is good. She just received a nerf in the last patch, so now she's getting a slight tone up. That's good. Well, it could be bigger than slight. Reduce self-slow rate during the Dance of the Butterfly, her ultimate ability, from 30% to 15%. That's good. She should be a mobile hero. It's part of her whole shtick. She should be mobile. Increase each strike's damage from 150 to 170. Okay, that's good. I'm going to say that's a good buff for Psylocke. Right, because the ultimate, it's not going to come around terribly often. The better the player, the more quickly it's going to come around. But this is a good thing. Right now, she should be mobile. Cutting it in half, I'm wondering maybe if we didn't tone it down to like 20% first, maybe that would have been a better first step, because while she is more mobile and she can move around more easily while she's in her ult, getting away from her ult is really the only way to counter it, because you can't really, at least I haven't seen, of someone take Psy out while she's in her ult. It could be possible though. It probably is, and I just don't know about it. And that is everything. All right, that is everything. I'm not going to go over the team ups because they went over that. Now they do give numbers and stats here, so if you want to look at that, check that out. But that is all I've got for the Season 4.5 devlog, and that is all I have for this video. I know it ended up being kind of a long one. With a thank you, and then we went into, my research on what I found from the changes. The big theme from that, just to recap, was most heroes are largely unchanged. There's a lot of things that you would think would have been a bigger nerf from the way they talked than what it ended up being. And some people that got nerfed got buffs in other areas to kind of compensate for it. And I forgot to play with Bucky. So, I'm excited for Daredevil to come in. I'm going to be excited for him. I wish he wasn't a duelist and we had another character in another role, but they're going to keep kind of spreading it out, right? So getting duelist into Vanguard, I would have to imagine is better than being 2 Vanguards, because people weren't happy with 2 duelists. So even though the Vanguards are a deficient number along with strategists, I'm just going to kind of go out on a limb and assume the community is going to be unhappy if we get a double anything in any season. Could be true, might not be true, who knows. But I want to say thank you again for all the support. Thank you again for 30 subscribers. Thank you again for the watch hours, the views, the likes. Thank you for all the support from all the communities. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. It might be coming out a little bit later than I anticipated it to. I was actually wanting it to come out on the 1st, but it looks like I'm going to be putting that out later today. Hopefully I'll have that out by the usual time. If not, I apologize in advance. The reason things have been a little off in terms of this video coming out, well, 1, the devlog snuck up on me. 2, we got offered more overtime during the week at work, so I've been working some extra overtime. That's why the delay. But thank you all. Thank you. I hope to see you in the next one. I want to hear from you in the comment section down below. What did you think of the 4.5 devlog? Are you excited for the team up changes? Do you think some of those balancing changes are a bit too much? Do you think they're a good thing? And of course, are you excited for Daredevil? But most importantly, have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will try to make sure I got chapters in here for you guys.